Hey guys, thanks for joining me for an episode of Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today we're going to take a look at Bad Maps. This is a brand new game coming to Kickstarter from Floodgate Games. It is a 3 to 5 player game that takes roughly half an hour to 45 minutes to play, and it is a competitive game, so each of the players is working against the other players to be the overall winner at the end of the game. So in the game itself, you're playing pirate captains, and you guys have gotten your maps all scrambled up to where the hidden treasure is. So you're all sending your minions out, giving them orders, and getting them crossed around and whatnot, in hopes that your minions, or the minions that you're supporting, will find those treasures and bring them back to you. The game itself is going to go over 2 rounds where the players are going to be programming by playing different cards from their hands, and each player has the same cards, and you're going to be playing them to the 4 different minions that are around the map. And at the end of the round, those minions are going to be moving around the map, potentially moving each other, bumping into each other, sending minions into the sea or into traps, and in hopes of trying to get the minions that you want closest to that treasure. So my opinions of this one so far is that this is one that I would definitely recommend checking out. This is another great family game from Floodgate Games. For those of you that have followed my channel, you know I've really enjoyed Sagrada, which was one of their last titles, and if you haven't had a chance to check it out, definitely check that one out. But this is just another really good title from them. It's a very light programming game, for those of you that are familiar with that, where you're playing cards to create a set order for the different things that you're trying to control on the map. And this is a good introductory one for families, as there's not a lot of complicated rules. It's very easy to understand. The themes are really fun, and the artwork is great. So it's definitely one I would recommend for light gamers, or gamers that enjoy programming games, or for families. This is definitely a good game. Now, of course, these are just my opinions. I'd also love to hear your guys's. Once this Kickstarter goes live, is this one that you're looking to back, or have you backed? If not, why? And if yes, why is that as well? I'd love to hear your guys' comments in those comment section below. And also keep in mind that this is just a prototype copy. This is not the full representation of the game once you guys get it from production. So that being said, as always, if you guys enjoy my videos, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it'll help me to continue to grow and bring these great games to you guys. And if you want to get notifications anytime I post new videos, please also consider ringing that bell, and then you'll get emails every time I have new content coming out. So let's go ahead and head to the table, and I'll show you what this is all about. For player setup, each player is going to choose a captain that they'd like to play as, and then there are 2 modes to this game. There's a basic mode that's listed at the bottom of the card and will give each player the same ability, and there's an advanced mode where each captain is going to have their own unique ability. From there, then each player is also going to get the deck of cards of that color. So with our teal captain here, he'll receive the teal deck of cards, and these are all going to be the same for all the captains. So each of these decks is going to contain 1 of each of the directions, north, south, east, and west, and it'll have 3 forward movement cards with a 1 space, 2 space, and 3 space movement, and 2 backward movement cards of 1 space and 2 space. Then each player is also going to receive a spyglass token that they'll be able to use during their turn to activate their captain's special ability. There are 2 other decks of cards included in the game. The first is the Blackout deck, which 1 card will be revealed at the beginning of each round. And these cards are going to outline when the cards are played, as you guys will see. When they're played, if they're played face up or face down, white being face up and black being face down. And again, based on the number of players, if you're playing with a 2-player game, you're only going to use the 2-player cards, which are going to have a couple additional features, or the 3 to 5-player cards. Then we also have the objective cards for rounds 1 and round 2, and both of these decks are going to have a number of cards comprised of the 4 different minions that are going to be played, which are the blue, red, gray, and yellow minions. Each of these cards is going to outline a condition for that minion, whether it be first place, last place but not on their starting space, first or second space, and each of these is going to reward the players with points that they'll use to win the game. The last thing I want to look at is the board itself. So the board is double-sided as well, one side being the basic side, which is this side, which will have starting locations for each of the 4 minions, as well as the pits that will be on the board already. Then there is an advanced side, which does not have any of that information, and the players will randomly determine where the different minions start, as well as being able to place the pits where they want them. So on this side, we have the X in the middle marking where the treasure is, or where the players potentially want to get the minions to. Then we have a grid and the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west. And then each player or each minion is going to have a side where they're going to have their numbers 1 to 5, where the players are going to be able to program their different movements in hopes of either getting their minions to be the first, the last, or somewhere in between. So let me show you guys what the game looks like in action now. So I've gone ahead and set up for the basic mode. All the captains have the same starting ability, and all the minions have their own starting locations in that. So from here we're ready to move into the round. So first thing you're going to do is grab the round objectives and deal out each player 4 cards. From there, once all players have 4 cards, each player is going to go ahead and look at these cards secretly and choose one of the cards to discard back into the round 1 deck. This way then all players will start with 3 objectives. Okay. From here then we're going to flip over the top blackout card, and this will apply to all the different zones for the round. So the first 2 cards in each zone will be played face up, and then the last 3 will be played face down. From here then we're going to go ahead and start with our first player, who is our teal captain. So this player is going to go ahead and look through their cards secretly and choose one to play on one of the 4 minions. It doesn't have to be the ones that they're going after, it could be other ones to try to stop other players from doing well or whatnot. So let's go ahead and start by playing this card here, face up, meeting our blackout conditions on the red minion. So this is a backwards 1 space card. Now the other thing our player can do is use their spyglass token, but that is they only have 1, so they have to choose when to use that one, and it will let them follow whatever special conditions are on their captain's card. With this being basic, all the players get to look at any one face down map card. So at this point there's no point in even using this, because the first 2 cards played on any minion will be face up. From here then the last thing we need to do is mark that minion as the first mate. So this minion is going to be the first one that'll be activated later on. So we're going to go in a clockwise order with each captain doing this in turn until all the minions' 5 spots are filled up. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of this off camera, and then I'll come back to show you guys the next step. So now that all of our minions have 5 cards along their tracks, we're ready to move into the next part of the round. So at this point then all the players are going to look at their cards one last time and choose another card that they don't think that they're going to be able to meet and discard that one. So we'll do that one. Do that one, and our player over here, we'll go ahead and do this one. Alright, so from here then we're ready to move the minions. So we're going to go ahead and start with our first mate minion, which is red, and we're going to do the action on that first card. So this is going to move him back 1 space, and then we're going to again move in clockwise manner around the board, resolving each minion's first card until that is done. Then we'll move on to the second, third, and fourth, and finally the 5th card. So for our blue minion, he's going to move forward 2 spaces. For yellow, we're going to go ahead and move him forward 2 spaces. And same with gray, move him forward 2 spaces. Going back to red, he's going to face the west. So he's already facing that direction, so he won't do anything. Going over to blue, he's going to face north, he's already doing that. Then our yellow minion is going to face east. And finally, our red minion is going to move forward 1 space. Going back over to red, he is going to move forward 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3. Going over to blue, he is going to move forward 1 space. Yellow will face west. And almost forgot that one. And our gray minion is going to face north. Moving over to red, he is going to move forward 3 more spaces, 1, 2, 3. So he fell off of the map into the ocean, so he is going to go back to his starting location. Going over to blue, he's going to face east. Yellow will face west, who is already facing that direction. And gray is going to move back 1 space. Moving back to red for their final card, they're going to move forward 3, 1, 2, 3. Blue is going to move backwards 2 spaces. He fell into a trap, so he's going to go here. Yellow is going to face south. And gray is going to move backwards 2 spaces. So there's a couple other things. If a minion would push or move into a space with another minion, they're just going to push them in that direction, so in that way minions can be pushed into the ocean or into the pits. Now there is a wall on each pit, so if a player is pushed into there, they're going to stop and not move any further. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and resolve and determine where the minions are. So each minion is going to count a number of spaces towards the X in the shortest path possible. So yellow is 2 spaces away, so yellow would be first place. Red is 1, 2, 3 spaces away. Blue is 4 spaces away, and gray is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. So yellow is first, red is second, blue is third, and gray is last. So blue is going to be disqualified because they're in the start space, so their minion will not count, and so these are the 3 that we're going to have left. So each player is going to resolve their cards now if they met any of the conditions. So with our orange player here, if red was in first or second place, which he is, then he gets to count this one, so he'll get to keep that. And then we had gray in first or second place, which gray ended up last, so he did not meet that one, so that'll be discarded. Purple had red being in last place, so he did not meet that. And gray also being in last place, which gray did meet that, so our purple player did get that. And then finally our teal player, with their 2 objectives, he has red being in first or second, which red was in first or in second place, and blue being in first, which blue was disqualified, so he will not meet those requirements. Now, one other thing to keep in mind is that each minion can only meet, or each player can only have 1 card for each minion of that color. So if, like, teal would have had 2 blue cards, he could have only met 1 of those. So at this point, then the players would go ahead and get all of their cards back. We would go ahead and do the second round objective, and each minion is going to place a pit with the wall facing in the direction that they're in, and then they would move back to their starting location, except for the blue one, because any minion that starts in their starting location would not add a pit to that. So then we would have 1 here, and 1 there. Okay, so at this point then we would go into round 2. Once round 2 is over, the player that has the most points, based on objectives, will be the overall winner of the game. Well, I hope you guys found this video helpful in determining whether or not you want to back this game. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. And as always, thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch my videos and leave me feedback on them. I do really appreciate it, and I do take into account everything you guys say. And if you like these videos, if you enjoy what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel, as it will help me to grow and continue to bring these awesome titles to you guys. And as always, I will see you guys later.